Okay,
What's
so
going on, my guys? This is D Brown.
That was me. Sorry.
you're killing me.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get you sound check. Just make sure you're good.
Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 2.
You feeling all right? And on the other end, can I get your sound check?
Jamie, can you do a little sound check over there? 1 2 1 2.
Yeah. Yeah. 1 2 1 2.
And is he too loud or are you too loud in your headset? Do you need anything?
He's a little loud for me.
Go ahead and check again. Have him check again.
Jamie, do it one more time for me, brother.
Yeah. Go ahead. 1 2 1
All
2.
right, we're good to go. Yeah. Yeah.
If you need anything up or down, just look at me.
All right.
You point to your mic up.
Okay.
Point to him up or down.
Sorry.
If anything needs to happen.
Gotcha.
All right, cool. And we're gonna go live in. Caleb, my preview just went to black.
Yeah, because the delay.
So, but when I hit go live,
Yeah, you're good. Go live, unfade from black, and then you can start talking.
okay, got it.
Yep. You good?
What's going on, my people? Listen, this is Coach D Brown, college recruiter and NIL advisor. Listen, I am joined today, man. This is it's almost like riding a bike, but not really, because I've been falling off the bike if it comes down to it. But it's been a minute, man, since we had some guests coming on, and when I said, man, I want to come back with a guest, I really wanted to come back with a guest, and saying that we have, this story program. We've had some really, great programs on, but I've never had this program on. And I'm excited to hear about where they're going. And I'm just excited to hear about this coach's journey. He comes, one of my boys over there hooked us up over there. And I'm just, blessed. Shout out to my boy Tyler. But I am joined by Jaime Tutko, assistant coach over there from the College World Series, the champions, man. The LSU Tigers, man. Jaime, what's good, brother?
Hey, what's going on, man? I appreciate you having me on. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yes, man. So listen, this is going to be fun, man, because I am such a college baseball fan lately because I've had so many guys I've helped over the years, and I became people that hear me talk regularly, they know that I'm more of a college baseball fan now than a pro guy, even though I was technically a pro guy my whole life. And I just think it's a different passion. It's just a different energy. The talent level is like crazy, and obviously we're going to talk about that, but I want to know the man, a little bit about Jaime, the background. How did you, where you from? Your playing, coaching career that got you to where you are right now at LSU.
Yeah, for sure. So I was born and raised in Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
Went to King High School there and played for the legendary coach Jim Macaluso. And but yeah, played baseball at King High School. Then I went to St. Leo University, Division II school in the Sunshine State Conference, just north of Tampa. And I played there for 4 years. And what a heck of a conference that is, man. It's unbelievable baseball in the Sunshine State Conference, man. It's awesome. And then, once I got done with playing, I knew that pro ball was not an option for me, but I knew that I wanted to work in this game. There was no question about it, man. This is my life and my passion. And so I was able to get hooked up actually through a family friend of mine who still works with the Cincinnati Reds organization, and got me an interview for a job with the Reds. And I got the job right out of college. And
Nice.
So I went out to Arizona, and then went with the rookie ball team up to Montana. So I was born and raised in Florida, and then right out of college was thrown into Montana. So it was a little bit of a culture shock, but man, I enjoyed the heck out of it. And, I met some people in this industry, in this game that I'm still close with today. And, so I worked with the Reds for 2 years, and then got a job with the Miami Marlins for 3 years, which brought me to the area closer to where I'm at now. I would stay with the big league team and the AAA team in spring training, and then would come with the AAA team to New Orleans, which is where their AAA team was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a job that opened up at LSU that was actually, I think, the very first type of a position in all of college baseball when it came to video coordinator and kind of the player development side of things. And so I mean, obviously, I didn't know a whole lot about LSU, but I mean, everybody knows about LSU, so I knew enough about the program and the history. And man, when I came here and I did my interview with Coach Maneri previously, and I just fell in love with this place. I fell in love with the city, and thankfully, Coach Maneri, gave me this job, and I've been here for 10 years now. My job and my responsibilities have definitely changed over the last 10 years, but it's been really, really cool to see the landscape of the technology, the data, the information at the early stages of Division I college baseball to where it is now. Is we'll talk about it some more, but it's been an incredible journey to get here, and again, so thankful for Coach Johnson for keeping me on staff and increasing my role and being a lot more a part of the the coaching staff instead of not necessarily just the behind the scenes things. And man, it's been a heck of a run. Like I said, we've won 2 out of the last 3, and hoping to go back and just continue to win. And but it's been fun, and I really enjoy this place. LSU is definitely home to me now, and Baton Rouge is I'm married a Louisiana girl.
Oh, nice.
We got kids, and this is home now to me. So, but I love everything about LSU. It's definitely become my big passion here.
It's funny you say that because I see it's funny I see a little flip flop going, but obviously you've done it, but obviously even with Coach Johnson there, I see a lot of pro guys that end up going to the college route, and obviously you started in your coaching career professionally and then come down to the college ranks. I see college guys too going pro. We just had a conversation about an hour ago with somebody about this, but what's the draw that obviously playing coaching professionally, you would think that would be where most guys would want to do, but as you can tell, like you see a lot of like guys that are established pro type coaches coming into the college ranks, especially the big time college ranks. Why do you think that's happening?
So I mean, my journey with it, having worked in the professional side of things and then coming to this side of things, like, again, I learned so much working with the Cincinnati Reds and the Miami Marlins. And again, I've met so many people that I'm still in contact with today that I would not be here to, doing what I'm doing now if it wasn't for those 5 years working in pro ball. But it's a different landscape of the college side of things. And the main draw for me was the fact that, these kids are 18 to 22 years old. They're really right, just starting like the prime of their life, you could say, and just the ability to have an impact on these kids' lives on and off the field was the biggest draw for me. And again, I feel like that's what if you're not in it, if you're coaching and you're not in it for those reasons, you're probably not in the right business. But no, I love the ability to not only compete at a high level because I'm unbelievably competitive, and I want to win at everything that I do.
Facts.
But to do it at this level here with these 18 to 22-year-old unbelievably gifted athletes, and again, be able to have an impact on their lives on and off the field. It makes me so happy when I get a phone call from a former player telling me that he's going to the big leagues, but it makes me just as equally happy as when I get a wedding invitation from a former player and get invited to their wedding, or I get a FaceTime from a former player so excited that him and his wife are having a girl, for they having a baby, and little things like that definitely mean just as much as when that guy gets that call saying he's going to the big league. So you really do have that impact on these kids' lives here.
You really do, man. And that's awesome. So I want to go back to what you were talking about, like seeing like the transformation over the last even 10 years. I'm not even talking about coaching staff, and I just want to talk about the overall game of college baseball. I heard you say something about the videos, and obviously you're getting more on the field and the pitching staffs, but what have you seen over the last 10 plus years that is almost like amazes you a little bit, or and either the type of athletes or behind the scenes the trainings that goes along and all of that? Because I know LSU has pretty much the bells and whistles of everything top notch over there.
Man, we could honestly talk about this question right here for a good hour, but
Yeah.
man, it is the landscape of high level Division I baseball has totally changed in the last 10 years, and the biggest thing is the pure talent level, right? 10 years ago there was not as many guys that are throwing 94 to 97 miles an hour. Now it's if you're on the scouting report and it's your fastball velocity is under 93, well, we don't necessarily think that there's a ton of velo there. You know what I mean?
That's
So,
crazy.
our guys are just trained for that. You
Yeah.
know, it's unbelievable. But the velocity, the strength component, and then the age component as well. I mean, they cut back the number of rounds in the draft, the major league draft. So there's end up being more people that not only get to campus, the high school kids, but also more of the juniors that end up staying for a fourth year. So that on top of COVID, which, obviously added another year for all the athletes of eligibility, it made college baseball old, right? So that's the biggest thing is you just see a lot of old guys, a lot of more 21, 22, 23-year-olds now than you did 10 years ago. But again, it's just the evolution of the game in terms of the player development side of things. When you talk about, everybody's got the TrackMan stuff. Everybody's got the every type of bells and whistle you could think of from a player development, for whether it be a biomechanical standpoint, whether it be just a pure video standpoint, whether it be these facilities around the country that are doing a really, really good job at developing these athletes and getting them bigger and stronger and faster. These kids are coming in now as freshmen, and man, they don't look like an 18-year-old freshman. They did 10 years ago,
Right,
but some of these kids are coming in. They're big, they're strong, man. They move fast, they move athletic. All these different training activities and different training facilities around the country, I think have sometimes we'll get a knock for some of the things they do, but I think they for the most part they've all done a really, really good job of getting these guys physically ready to play when they step foot on campus, and then our job is to get them to be more baseball functionality ready to play, if that makes sense. But yeah, man, it's like I said, it is not even the same game as it was 10 years ago.
Speaking of that, when it comes to recruiting, to keep up, like you said, even the 18-year-olds and are coming in strong. But you also said that now, because of the transfer portal and bringing in kids, I already know like how competitive is it? I know back in it, just 3 to 5 years ago, you had to offer 8th graders, you know what I'm saying, and 9th graders. Now it's like it's jumped up because you said the college game is so much older. How tough is it easier or harder to not only now you got to really, dive in and check out that high level 16, 17, 18-year-old to try to get him on campus when he's a freshman, but also now you got to, scour through the transfer portal and see who's doing what, and other programs over there that might hit the portal, high level kids. Is it easier or tougher now when it comes to recruiting, especially to keep up, and you guys have kind of, done a good job as far as mixing in between, college, guys that are coming in and also high school kids?
Yeah, I don't know if it's any easier or harder. I would say it's definitely a different mindset when going into it. The fact that, we do not have to necessarily recruit the 8th and 9th graders now and 10th graders even has made that a little easier on that side of things, because, it's much better now that, we don't have to worry about, trying to go get those young kids before they've even played one high school baseball game, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
But for us at LSU, whenever it comes to recruiting and our side of things, when, you're looking at the transfer portal, you're looking at high school talent, like, we will never, ever, ever stop recruiting the best high school talent in the country. Like that is our bread and butter. I mean, you look at the core of these teams that have won the last 2 national championships, and not only do we have freshmen all over the field playing, but we have homegrown guys that have been here since they were freshmen and, come and stay the entire time. And the way that we use the transfer portal is more of it's kind of a filling needs for certain teams, and each year's team is going to have different needs, obviously, on whether you need a catcher, your outfield's good, or you need some outfield, need some arms, whatever it may be. We're going to use that to kind of fill those pieces, just because you never know what's going to be in the transfer portal. There's no guarantee that, you're going to have a Tommy White in the transfer portal every year, because that doesn't happen, or Paul Skeens in the transfer portal every year. But, when you can get a guy like the freshman that just had massive roles for us last year on a national championship team, like Kason Evans and Cooper Williams, Derek Curiel, freshman All-American, Maverick Rizzi as a freshman led our team in appearances for a team that won the national championship.
That's crazy.
So, we are heavy on the freshmen in the high school side of things. And again, we're trying to go get the best high school players in the country. And then, like I said, just the transfer portal's using that as just a kind of a filler for your roster needs for that given year.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask this question. I have a feeling that you're going to be biased on one side, but when you're out looking for the top talent, is it and what do you want LSU to be known for? The Paul Skeens of the world, or the big boys that are just bombing away, the Tommy Tanks type of kid? Like, I know you want to mix or whatever, but like, what do you want to be like? All right, LSU, when you're coming in this weekend, not only going to, do you want us to be like, hi, we got some high level pitching, or we got some dudes that's just gonna rake?
Well, I'm going to use one of Coach Johnson's quotes here, and it's an unbelievable quote. But the way that we feel about it is when a team comes in, we don't want anybody in the entire stadium to think that winning is more important than that other team than it is to us. Like there should never ever be a question in terms of the way that we're going to go and compete on a daily basis. So really, just the competitive toughness would be a massive thing that we're continuing to look for. And you have all this data and technology and information. It's all unbelievable, and it's all has absolutely expedited a lot of our development with certain guys.
Okay. But
the amount of carry that you have on your fastball has never really gotten a guy out. You still have to go on and execute it on the mound. You still have to go manage the strike zone at the plate.
Facts. Swing
at pitches that you can hit hard, not chase. So there's a lot of different things that we can do as much as we want with the data, the technology and everything. But if you're not going to go compete when the lights turn on, you're probably not somebody that's going to play a lot for us, or somebody that we're not going to go recruit. So we want that to be one of the biggest things.
I know that's got to be, especially on your level, because if I talk to 10 kids in any given time, it don't matter the high level academies to, low level, a kid that you'll see somebody that sit here and
something went wrong.
Hold on one second.
Sorry. You still there?
Yep. You still there, Jimmy?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Sorry. You're good.
So my thing is, though, as far as recruiting a type of player, because again, everybody wants to come and play at a Power 4, especially in the SEC. But I seen that atmosphere. I see even on a Friday night, like it's big time. And when you out recruiting a guy, because he may throw 97, 98, but again, I know it's a give and take, but you may not know how he'll perform underneath the lights with 10, 15,000, screaming fans, or on the road somewhere and, playing against Tennessee or something, and like, how is that guy going to, perform under that? How tough is that to find that type of kid, even though he top talent, ranked so in high school, but it's finding that heart where he like wants to perform underneath the lights. Even at home,
and it's hard. It is, and that's a great question. And you'd be probably one of the better ones to answer that, right? I mean, when you took your first at bat in the big leagues, like what was that feeling like? It was probably like nothing you've ever felt before in your entire life. I would imagine
it was nervousness, no doubt about it. My legs were shaking and everything.
So,
yeah,
yeah. Mm-hmm. So that is a big thing, obviously, and we've run into it a few times with more of the transfer portal guys that are coming from maybe the smaller schools that we know from a talent level that could play here. But when they get here, they see everything that this whole program is about, and they see how big it is. You can see their eyes get a little big. And sometimes, we've had a few of them where it was mutual, like, okay, this probably is not going to be a good fit. So yeah, it is tough to do that. And for our younger guys, like, we always talk about just continuing to embrace the opportunity, embrace the challenges, and the mental side of the game is such a big component for things we do. I mean, we work on it daily on the pitching side of things and also on the offensive side of things. So, we try to get our guys to continue to control what you can control, right? And as long as you can do that, things will start to take care of themselves. But you're right. I mean, this is not only is this a game of variables, right? Where no two situations are ever really the same. But again, yeah, going in front of 10,000 people, for the first time, and we're going to do it in a couple of days. We're going to have a handful of arms and position players that are going to run out in front of 10,000 people for the first time in their entire lives.
Right.
And we always tell those guys to just continue to just embrace it. Don't try to shy it off. Don't try to push it off. Don't act like it's not there, because it is. Embrace it and enjoy it more so. So again, we hammer down the mental side of things and try to get our guys prepared. But it's a great question on the recruiting side of things. It can be tough. And that's where I think a lot of the relationships come into place for us with travel ball coaches. With advisors nowadays, with high school coaches and just people that we've gotten to know over the years. Built relationships with, and there's a handful of people we really do trust, and try to get their feedback on the kids and how they act, and again, the body language and the coachability aspect is extremely important for us. If guy goes up there, we're going to look at a kid, an arm, a high school kid, and he gives up a homer, and his body language is terrible. There's an error behind him, and he's throwing his hands up. Like it's probably not somebody that we're gonna really get after. So. But yeah, no, that was a really good question, and it is tough. It is very tough.
All right, so one of my things though, I wanted to share with you too, with as far as recruits and when it comes to coming in and on a national championship team, right? And he sees the freshman All-American in left field, and he sees the big time, I know it's going to be, we have fair competition and all that. I get it. But when you got a dude that's an All-American playing left field and outfield, it's going to be hard to break. Like what type of competition it is in practice, at a LSU? Like, is it open? Is it like everybody's free game? But obviously, the guys that have done it, are going to get, that extra look or two. Like, you just got to make sure you keep form. But if I'm a freshman coming in, like, how tough is it to break this lineup?
There's no question that on any given day, as a coaching staff, we are putting together the best 9 players in the lineup that we feel like are going to have the most success that day against that starting pitcher. You notice I didn't say nothing about freshman or senior.
Right.
It didn't matter. Literally, you're a 3-year starter and you're coming back for your 4th year, but a young 18-year-old kid is a better matchup and it has a better chance to have success. That kid's going to go play, plain and simple. If you're Derek Curiel, I think, we love Derek and he's going to be a massive part, obviously, of what we do. But if he came in and there was a younger kid that outplayed him this fall or this spring, he would have to move. For us, it's just we're going to put the best players in, no matter what the age. That does not necessarily matter at all to us. And the competition piece is huge. And again, it just kind of goes back to that. Really being able to control what you can control for those younger kids. And you could probably relate to this playing in pro ball. Like if you were when you were in low A or high A, if you looked and said, oh man, there's a double A guy that's, in the same position, that's a higher prospect. Then there's a guy in triple A. Then there's 2 guys in the big leagues that are very similar to me. Like, how am I going to how am I going to jump those guys? And you start worrying about that, the game's already passed you up. So, if you just continue to just work and work and work, enjoy the process, control what you can control, things will work out the way that they're supposed to work out. So we truly believe that.
All right. Listen,
You're unlimited now.
Just talk about the overall, competition. Like, I'm talking about in-house now. With I just asked you the question about in-house, but I want to talk about the actual conference, man, because, what makes me a fan is just seeing 18, 19, 21-year-old kids throwing 100 miles an hour, righty lefties, the kids coming out of the pen, these dudes hitting bombs, looking like grown men. I'm like, tell me about the SEC conference. Like, I know 10 years ago was great too. It was great when I was coming up in high school, but it just seems like, I don't know how many years now, it's extremely competitive. You see guys over there going pretty much getting drafted, and within 2 to 3 months, they're getting into the big leagues, Like, that wasn't happening. Yeah. Just talk about the level of competition in the overall conference of SEC.
Yeah, well, I think you hit it right there on the head. The guys are – the top-end guys in this league are getting to the big leagues unbelievably fast, which is just a credit to how deep this conference is. And, It's unbelievable because even, the bottom 2 or 3 teams, man, like those teams will come in and they will sweep you. Like there's no break at all within this conference. It is a 30 game, just absolute. Every game is a boxing match. That's the way that we feel. Like when we get done with a game, it's like, oh my gosh, like, oh, we got to go do this again tomorrow, and it's just relentless. It's just relentless. And, a lot of that is because of, the buy-in from a lot of these universities in the SEC in terms of the player development side of things and making, this sport a big deal, And you see that not only with the attendances, but you see that within the players, again, within the competition. I mean, it feels like, somebody from this league wins a national championship just about every year. So it's unbelievably deep. It is, again, the just the added of the age component, these guys getting better faster. It just has even made this league that much better. But again, we feel like you win one game in the SEC is like kind of a sweep in the big leagues, right? One game is as big as winning 3 in the big leagues. So, we're just trying to stack as many as we can. But yeah, this league is unbelievably relentless, and nobody's going to feel bad for you either if you lose. So, it's a lot of fun. It is. It really is a lot of fun.
As far as scouting teams, like I heard you say this, and I'm gonna be, I just don't know. I'm being nosy myself. I know with technology and all of that, but if I'm going to play Kentucky this weekend, I know you got video on guys and all of that, but how deep in depth, and you don't physically have scouts there, do you? Or like, how does that work when you're going to play Kentucky? Is it just reading through some data on on a website, or just looking at overall numbers? How do you scout against other teams that you may be playing?
Yeah, so it's a good question, and without going too much in depth on it, giving away anything that we're doing in house.
Okay.
There's so much data, there's so much technology, there's so much video.
Right.
It's not only just pulling up the video, but we're able to get all of the TrackMan data from every game that those teams have played before we go and play them. So you can kind of sift through that data. We have these different programs where we can just dump in our files, the CS TrackMan files, and it spits out the images and the graphics and the numbers that we're looking for, that we've the different charts and stuff that we've built over the last couple of years. So there's no hiding anything, especially in this league.
Right.
Everybody is in the TrackMan sharing network, so everybody gets everybody else's data. So from a preparation side of things, we feel like here at LSU, like there's nobody. We're going to go undefeated in preparation. We're going to try to go undefeated in the regular season in trying to win 56 games. We'd love to be the first team ever to win 56 straight games, but we know that in the game of baseball, that's not going to happen. But what we can control is being undefeated in preparation and knowing that there won't be another team that will be more prepared on a game day than us.
I mean, the last 2 out of 3, like you said, you win a national championship, and that's great. And I'm guessing you get a week to maybe a month to enjoy it, and you're right back on the road recruiting and getting ready for next year. But it obviously with Skip Berkman just kind of building the foundation back, when he did in the 80s and 90s. When you get a job there that it's pressure, but it just seems like the more you win, it's more added pressure to do it again. I've never been. I've been all through Louisiana. I've never been to Baton Rouge, which is crazy. And
well, man, you got to come to a game.
I know.
Awesome.
Yes, I'm. Trust me, that's definitely on my bucket list to come. And I watch it on TV, and it's like, man, that just looks like it's so much fun to play out there. And so, but talk about like the pressure, pressure is a privilege, right? But the local media, Baton Rouge, the city. I mean, because even like I said, you've always been winning, so I can't say that. But it's I've always heard, even when I'm back in my days of playing, it's been 20 plus years ago, but they always say like LSU is a good time, man. It's a great place to play, and even from the visitors, it's tough, but they say it's still a great place. But talk about the overall atmosphere. I know you briefly hit on that, but I want to hit that a little bit more. Like how big is college baseball in Baton Rouge? LSU.
Yeah, well, when you look at it geographically, the closest Major League Baseball team is the Houston Astros, which is 4 hours away.
Okay.
There's no professional baseball team in the state of Louisiana anymore, even on the minor league side. So it's
New Orleans is not there no more.
No, they're not there anymore.
Oh wow.
Nope.
Okay.
But I mean, it is literally the only show in town, and not only that, what Coach Bertman built here has just been unbelievable. I can't even put it into words. What he did for this program, not only on the baseball side of things, but just the athletic department in general. And so thankful that he is still around with us and comes to practice all the time. And
Does he? Okay.
just to be able to pick his brain and talk to him, literally the GOAT of college baseball, like the greatest of all time. And there's no question. To see what he has built from the ground up and to still be a part of this program is extremely special to us. It's extremely special to our coaching staff and really special to our players as well to continue to have him around. But you're right when you talk about how big this is now. The amount of media members that are around this team on a daily basis, and that go to our road games, that are traveling, to go watch us play. They're at every single game, and the amount of podcasts that these kids have to do, and the interviews with the media, the NIL photo shoot stuff. Like it is a lot. I mean, some of these kids, some of our higher profile players, they can't even go to Rouse's little grocery store down the street without somebody, wanting to take a picture with them. And, they are very much local celebrities here, and not only the city of Baton Rouge, but really the state of Louisiana. And so, it can be different for guys. It can be tough for guys. We do a lot of media training with our guys as well to, get them prepared for stuff like that. But, their Instagram followers are going to go through the roof. Everything on social media is going to go through the roof. So it's just a matter of being able to, block out all of that noise and know that whatever happens within our program stays within our program. And that's the only thing that matters. And, you have all these message boards where people are going to blow you up if you go 0 for 4 and you punch out 3 times. And it's just part of the beast, right? It's just part of what you have to deal with here. And I think, exposing some of these guys to that stuff early actually helps them whenever they move forward, and knowing that, none of that stuff matters. The only thing that matters, again, is, I know I've said it a few times already, but just control what you can control. And, again, good things are going to happen here. And it just makes it actually, I think it makes the team and the group a lot more tight, right? Because, we don't want anything to get out. We know that there's just people peppering you from all different directions. And, it just makes us a much closer group, knowing that, we're extremely humbled that we have this following and this, notoriety within the program, but, that necessarily does not matter. The only thing that matters is how we're going to play and perform on the field, and how we're going to get after it as a group.
Yeah, I definitely think that, as you were just talking, I was just thinking, like, I think about some of the Latin kids, right? You play professional, you've been around the pro game yourself. When you see these kids 17, 18, 19, like in professional ball, and they just going out there playing, and you realize when you go to their country that, the winter ball scene is 30,000 and they're 18, 19, 20 years old coming up around that when they come to the States and make it to the big leagues, they're not overwhelmed by this. And I'm thinking the same thing with you guys. You right? You're coming into the atmosphere at LSU and the lights and the media attention and, and not just the competition, but just the atmosphere around. So when you get the chance to get, a professional ball, if you're blessed to get drafted and make it to the big leagues, you're not overwhelmed by, all the bells and whistles that goes along with, not just playing professionally, but even, potentially getting up to the big leagues, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and it's really the same thing for us when we get to Omaha. Again, we play in front of 11,000 fans every single day, and we go on the road. We play in front of the same amount of fans. It's a ton. But then you get to Omaha, and it basically triples. It almost gets to 30,000. So when you get into that situation, it's really not any different than anything that our guys have already done for the last 56 games.
That's awesome, man. I want to go back, and you mentioned this, man, and, I'll be honest with you. I think of you guys probably, obviously with different sports, but let's talk NIL. That has to, I personally know this. I have a young daughter who's a tennis player, and we definitely put LSU on our list over there, and a lot of it has to do with obviously the championships, girls basketball, the football, and the baseball. But just to think about the whole NIL, what's going on, you guys have pretty much been in the forefront when it comes to NIL. I don't want to kind of dig too deep, but it's just kind of like a broad view of, like, you guys, that has to be a somewhat of a recruiting tool for you guys to be like, we're up on this NIL. You guys are having, I saw on one of the little, I don't know if it was Paramount or Netflix, whatever, you guys had a damn documentary about the whole NIL thing, right? So,
yeah.
How obviously that's changed, but how do you guys deal with that being at LSU? I'm sure kids are coming and asking for that type of stuff, right?
Yeah, and that's part of our recruiting deal. Whenever we get these kids on campus for a recruiting visit, is we have the head of our NIL department, which is crazy to even say.
Right.
Where we were 10 years ago, now we have an NIL department.
Right.
It's unbelievable to me still. But Taylor Jacobs runs our NIL stuff for the entire athletic department, and she's unbelievable. Her and her group of teammates, will come over and give a full talk to the parents and the student athlete, the recruits that we have on campus. And, we'll kind of just break it down on a opportunity standpoint. Like, this is the things that are available to you. Here's how we handle these things. Right. And, it's definitely changed the entire landscape of where we're at with college baseball. And I would love to even go more in depth, but I feel like as we're sitting here today, a month from now, there could be different rules within the NIL landscape. So it's always changing, and it's trying to stay on top of that to continue to stay, again, like you said, out in front of everything and stay on top of it all, because the last thing that you want to do is fall back an inch in this league, because if you do, you might as well just fall back a mile. So we just got to continue to stay out in front of it all, and but it's been really big for us and important, and I would imagine that the kids say the same thing, and but again, it's ever changing, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I give you guys like credit for that, and obviously I'm all about the NIL and giving kids opportunities on and off the field, and this is a few years back. I was so, because you hear about football, you hear this about, and I'm like, obviously me being biased, I'm like, why no ball players don't ever get no love, man? Why no baseball players don't ever get no love? And I've heard, behind the scenes that LSU does a pretty good job, most SEC schools, but yours, the school name LSU was coming up a lot over there, that like, hey, they're doing it right over there when it comes to NIL space. So I want to say kudos to you guys for that. Again, you don't need no extra because of the championships and everything like that, but just being good, or I should say great, and always getting the top talent, and now the NIL, now you're keeping the talent, and also providing opportunities for kids. Obviously baseball, and with the gymnastic girl and the FloJo, the basketball player. You guys are just doing it on a whole nother level over there. Is it inner competition? And it also seems like, outside looking in, like most of the sports over there root for each other over there, right?
Oh, there is no question. There is absolutely no question. I mean, yeah, every sport is pulling for the other one, and just trying to not only win for their individual sport, but just to win for this university, and to win for the purple and gold and the people of Baton Rouge and Louisiana, and just how important, this is to so many different people, not only the baseball side of things, which is just a small side, but just the entire athletic department here at LSU has been unbelievable to me. It's been phenomenal work for, and just to be able to see how important this university is. It still amazes me to this day, how incredibly invested so many people are, not only in this city, but again in this state. So it's really awesome to see.
I know it got to be, it's crazy. I like I said, I've never been to Baton Rouge, but I've always loved Louisiana. I love the people. I actually was one of those guys that played in New Orleans. It was the Zephyrs then. I know it came to
that's
baby.
That's where I worked. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I played there. I actually was there the year Katrina hit. But I heard it came to the baby cakes, some crazy name over there. Zipper.
I think that was after I left.
Yeah. Some crazy name. I didn't know that there is not a minor league team there. But anyway, my point is, I love the people there. I love the energy. I was New Orleans, but I heard Baton Rouge is a good town. I've heard, a lot of good things about Baton Rouge. So, but anyway, I wanted to kind of just hit on the overall, like when it comes to, camps or anything. I know the season is coming up, but what type of camps or anything like that do you guys run? Do you do anything during the season, or is it just strictly baseball? And then definitely in the summer, like how many camps do you guys run? And because I would guess like guys coming to camps is a big recruiting tool for you.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is, and I think that it may come across like the going to camps for the high school kids is a little bit of an eye wash, but I can promise you right now, it is not. It absolutely is not. The amount of kids that we have not only seen through camp or have gotten to camp to be able to put our own eyes on and then end up offering a scholarship to or bringing them in and actively recruiting has been, man, I can't even start to count how many people have come through through our camps. But we run all of our youth camps in the summer, right? And then we'll do 2 high school camps in the summer, which is we call them Become a Tiger camp. So the kids get to come in and literally the facility is theirs for ends up being they come in on a Friday night, all day Saturday, and then pretty much all day Sunday. And they get their own locker.
Oh, nice.
They get their nameplate on top of the locker. They get to wear the practice jerseys,
Oh, nice.
purple and gold for the game.
Nice.
We play scrimmages. We have pregame meals. We have postgame meals. We have pregame meetings, and we just like run through the entire thing. And again, give them free reign for the entire facility for a couple days, and that's a cool camp, and we really love doing that. And then we'll do some showcase style 1 day or 2 day camps in like in the fall usually, and then we usually end up doing one in early January. We did one about a month ago, and so we'll have we'll have all those camps, but again, with the doing them in the fall has kind of helped with those younger kids that we can't necessarily
talk to.
We can't recruit them, but we can bring those younger kids in to a camp and be able to bring them to a football game as well, and include that as part of the ticket, within the camp. So, we typically will do one of those a year, and it's been big for us. But yeah, no, the camp deal is unbelievable. So for all those high school kids out there, like don't think that going to a camp is just eyewash, because it's not. It's definitely there's really no better place to see, to showcase your talents in front of the entire coaching staff.
Speaking of that, and I wanted to, we know about LSU and we know the reach, but obviously outside of the state of Louisiana, which is good ball, no doubt about it. But is there pockets? Is there regions? Is there like a place that, that, okay, over the years we've had a lot of talent that came from this particular area. And I know, like I said, I don't know LSU is a national brand, but is there, if I'm a Chicago kid and, and I feel like, man, I just want to come down south and play, man, do it. But LSU ain't looking for me, man, whatever. Do you feel like, there are pockets over there and that you guys recruit from that are, not the normal, Louisiana, and I'm not going to talk about Florida, Texas, but just all the way around, man. Is there some pockets that you feel like, man, we always have gotten some really good kids from?
Well, I would say that those pockets are more geared around where the rest of our coaching staff fit and myself, where we have our relationships with whenever it comes to the high school side of things, the travel coaches, all of that stuff. So Coach Johnson dominated the West Coast for a long time. So his connections out there is unbelievably strong. So, we feel like we do a really good job in the California side of things with, guys like Derek Curiel, was a California
kid. He's a Cali kid. Okay.
Yeah, I got a freshman right-hander, Reagan Ricken, this year from California. We've got even a transfer from Oregon State, Trent Caraway, who's from California. We got a handful of California kids, and then we've got a couple of guys on our staff that are really, really, really locked into Texas as well. So with Texas being right next door to us, and we feel like we need to try to dominate Texas as much as we can. And then but really, ultimately, like you said, it's a national brand. We had a Maverick Rizzi, freshman last year for us, who's going to pitch big innings for us this year, is from Massachusetts.
Okay.
We have a left-handed pitcher this year from Iowa Western. He's originally from Green Bay, Wisconsin. I mean, you just go back to the guys that have played here even in the past. Alex Bregman is from New Mexico. Kevin Gosman is from Colorado. Alex Lang is from Kansas City. Zach Hess is from Virginia. The amount of people that are just from all over the country, it's we're not just we're not limiting ourselves to certain areas. Like if you are good enough to play at LSU, hopefully we find you. And it does not necessarily matter whatsoever where they're from.
Each year, I know the numbers might change from a recruiting standpoint, but is it something like, hey, each year we want to get a catcher, we want to go up the middle, shortstop, we could move him over, center fielder, pitching wise. Is it something that each year that, all right, our core is going to be these 2 to 3 players, and then everything else may come from that. Is it like that, or is it just specific to be like, all right, we're lacking at third base, we're a little light, we're going to just, go hard at third base? Like, how is the recruiting, process goes for you guys behind the scenes and meetings? And just kind of give me a time, like, I'm just being nosy, doing what I do, but like a timeline that, is it middle of the year when you kind of start seeing guys playing, doing well, or certain guys that well, we may have to give them a little shot, or, yeah, man, and then you start like, besides just the juniors and seniors that may be getting drafted and graduating, like how do you go about making that plan? When does that happen? I should say that.
You talking about for our team specifically?
Yeah, your team specifically, as far as like when you start seeing like, okay, we might need this, we might need that, Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. So yeah, we're obviously looking at 2, 3, even 4 years down the road in terms of where we will be with certain guys, and kind of pegging those guys that we think are going to be drafted, junior drafts, junior draft guys, or even the handful of guys that we have that are going to be draft eligible sophomores. You got to incorporate all that stuff into it as well. But yeah, you're absolutely looking at the depth chart for the next couple of years ahead. But one thing that we preach all the time is, if you feel like you have enough pitchers, go get another one. Because you we feel like you can never have enough pitching. So we're going to, really, really hammer the pitching side of things, especially when it comes to the high school side, where we can get those kids in and really develop those guys, and then pick and choose how we need to from the transfer portal in terms of, are we heavy left-handed, or, do we need to go get a couple of left-handed bullpen arms potentially, or, do we need to go get a couple right-handers with some higher end velo, whatever it may be in that given year, from the transfer portal side of things. But yeah, no, what's making it even more challenging now is the roster sizes, decreasing.
Can you talk about that a little bit, please? Can you talk about the difference from where it was to where it is now? Mm-hmm.
It was at 40 from COVID. They had it at 40, and now they're going to bump it down to 34. So it really makes it tough when you're looking at 34. If you go hypothetically, you win 18 position players. That only what leaves you 16 pitchers. So you would like to be 17 and 17, or even the opposite. So it's 16 position players, maybe an 18 pitchers, so you have enough, and so it's just going to make it a little bit more challenging on that side of things, and it's just another wrinkle that we'll have to kind of navigate through and work through as a staff. But when it comes down to just the pure recruiting side of things, we're really trying to hammer the pitching, because again, like we said, we truly believe that if you have enough pitchers, go get another one.
When it comes to on the recruiting side, and I lost some train of thought, but when it comes to the stacking up players, like how many, like, I guess this would be your first test this year, right? We're having 34. Like, so how many guys do you bring in, and do you make it like, hey, do you tell guys straight up like, hey, I'm bringing in 40 and we're only going to take 34? So, is it like that, or you bring in like right around 36 and then a couple guys you're going to make a decision on? How has that been working for you guys this past fall?
So there's certain guys that fall into where we can designate guys. So we actually have 38 on our roster this year. But for us as a staff, as a team in the fall, I know that there's other schools within this league that are bringing in upwards of 50 kids in the fall, and then having to get rid of a lot of kids. Yeah. We don't necessarily run that route at all. Okay. We did not have to get rid of anybody this year. Everybody that we had brought in the fall is on the team.
Awesome.
And it just makes it tough, and the relationships piece with these kids, and the recruiting side of things, like you just build such a really, really strong relationship with them, and then they get here, and it feels like they were just lied to, and that's not the route that we're going to go with that. We're never going to sit here just straight up lie to a kid and tell them we need him to get him to campus, and then we'll figure it out from there. That's just not fair to the kids, and it's just kind of a dirty way of doing business. But no, we try to bring in right around what we need to, and maybe on a given year, maybe there's one or two guys that maybe we end up recommending going to a junior college to get some playing time, or but again, this year we didn't have to do that, and knock on wood, we don't have to do that a whole lot. Hopefully you don't have to.
Good, man. I got a couple more questions, man. I'm going to get you out of there, man. I know you're busy, man, and busy time. You guys are starting up. So as far as LSU baseball, man, we know the history, the Skips and what he's built, and the players, the all walks of life, countless big leaguers, countless guys drafted, the national championships. Where do you see LSU baseball in the next 3 to 5 years? Like what and then expand on that a little bit with the overall college baseball game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that here at LSU, we hope that the brand of baseball is one that our fans are extremely proud to come and watch us play. Again, we don't want anybody to ever walk in and feel like it's more important to the other team in that other dugout than it is to us on any given day, whether it's a Tuesday night against an in-state school or it's a Friday night against Tennessee at home. We treat every game like it's a playoff game. We talk about it all the time. It's a 56-game playoff, and treat every game like a playoff. Doesn't matter who's, we're going to play our game and not going to play the opponent necessarily,
right.
I like that. So from that side of things, I hope that's where we continue to just keep building, this program. Coach Johnson, is hands down the best college baseball coach in the country, and there's not even any question about it. Just from terms of his development, his work ethic, his drive, his care factor. I mean, this guy just wants to be the best. So that would be my biggest thing. The next 3 to 5 years, I hope that we just continue to be, make all of our fans and everybody here extremely proud and know that we gave it every bit that we could on the field on any given day. And, if we could do that, I think that we'll leave our legacy here for those 3 to 5 years. We'll continue to, people will still talk about those teams, be proud of those teams, whether we win the national championship or we don't. And then the landscape of college baseball, if I would have told you that 10 years ago, I would be sitting here right now talking about how many guys are throwing 95 miles an hour and where the game is, I don't know if I would have believed you. So I don't know where the game is going to be. I do know that the evolution of the technology piece is going to continue to be huge and important.
Right.
And if you're not staying on top of those things in terms of the player development trends, you're going to fall behind. So, we, as a coaching staff, I feel like our entire staff, we do an unbelievable job of continuing to grow as coaches as well, because this game is changing. The landscape of it is changing. So if we're going to just stay with what we've always done, because it's always worked, again, you're going to get passed up, right? There's the best thing about the development side of things with these young kids is that there's not a given, like, hey, you got to do A, B, C, and D with some of these kids. And really getting into the weeds with them, I feel like is what sets us apart, where we can really get into that individual development side. And I think that the continued growth, again, of the technology and information within college baseball is going to continue that trend, not only here, but, throughout the entire country.
I agree. Equivalent SEC baseball. Last question. I hear this a lot. What is the equivalent on a professional level in SEC? We talked about certain guys, the CAGs of the world, and everybody just boom, in big leagues within the year, within less than a year. But you've seen it, you've been in it, you've coached. So where do you see SEC baseball? If I'm an 18-year-old kid and I'm thinking what professional baseball is, A-ball, AA with my mind, and you're selling me on what SEC is about, what do you think that's equivalent to, level-wise?
I think, man, that's a tough one. I think that on any given Friday night in the SEC, when you got two big horses going against each other, you can make the argument that with those two guys on the mound, that that they could pitch in AA or maybe even AAA at that point. But I would say on a given weekend in the SEC, you're probably looking at the equivalence of probably high A. Wow. I would guess. And again, it's been 10 years since I've been in professional baseball, but there's a handful of kids that, even at this level, even guys that have had massive impacts for us winning a national championship, that you don't get the opportunity to go play pro ball, really, really good college baseball players, and don't get nothing wrong with that. So you have those mix of guys that don't end up going to play pro ball. But yeah, I mean, shoot, when you had Paul Skeens going against Hurston Waldrop from Florida, I mean, that's two guys that got to the big leagues really, really fast.
That's crazy.
It's hard to imagine that that on a given night that those guys couldn't have gotten guys out at least in AA and shoot, there's short stints where some guys will come in, and it's like, man, that guy could literally pitch in the big leagues tonight with the stuff that he just had.
That's crazy.
You know, when you're talking about guys that are 97 to 100 with a 90
Right.
mile an hour slider and just filling up the strike zone and punching dudes left and right, it's like, well, that's what they look like on
Right.
TV.
Right.
You know, it's just they're a little bit more consistent up there.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm a firm believer that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong with this one, but you know, once you get to Double A, I feel like if you're in Double A, you can play in the big.
Yeah, no doubt.
You get absolutely right.
Yep.
Okay, so if you're in Double A, it's just a matter of just continuing to get consistent. So these guys very easily could compete at the Double A level right now with again a handful of those arms that we roll out there that face us. It's like, how are we gonna get a hit off of this guy? Like, this is ridiculous.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of where I would say on that side of things. So I'm literally on any given night. We had a left-hander throw the other day that coach said it in his post-game talk to the team. He said that is the closest I've seen to a Major League Baseball ready outing.
Wow.
Maybe ever, you know, in a 1 inning stand. I mean, it was electric for 12 pitches, and that absolutely could have gotten guys out in the big leagues on that night.
Listen, I can't even complain. Maybe 5-10 years ago, maybe I'd be like, oh, come on. But every year I go on TV and I see these guys throwing that pill and hitting. I just be like, yo, I'm like, how is this guy in college right now? You know?
And again, the fact that how quickly they're moving when they get into pro ball.
That's what I'm saying.
Especially out of here, you know. I mean, out of the SEC, these guys are just moving so fast.
Yeah.
The pro ball. I mean, there's some guys that will. Literally, they'll throw right in Double A, just like without anything else. Just hey, you're gonna put you on the Double A team, because we know that you can compete there. You know, I mean, Kate Anderson for us, you know, last year was the number 3 overall pick, unbelievable arm. Wouldn't shock me if he started.
That's the lefty, right?
The left-hander, he didn't throw last year after throwing over 100 innings here, so they shut him down. The Mariners did, but I mean, it would not shock me at all if his first professional pitch is at the Double A level that he throws this year. I mean, the talent is obviously there, so. And he's going to be expedited to the big leagues because he's just one of those polished guys. It's 4 pitches for strikes and competes and everything that you would look for from the makeup side of things. Like, it's just top notch on all of them. So those guys that hit like that can get up quick.
When they're saying to get rid of high school kids, you know, I'm sure you're hearing those rumors, right? What do you think that would do to the college game?
Whew. It'll make it a lot more talented. I'll tell you that, because there's a guy by the name of Connor Griffin. I don't know if you heard of Connor Griffin before, but obviously the minor league baseball player of the year last year.
Mississippi boy,
he would have been a freshman on our team last year because he was committed to us. Okay. So just imagine that guy on last year's team that won a national championship if he was forced to come to school. So it's going to make it better. That's for sure. I mean, they would even make the SEC, the college baseball, just the Power 4 baseball in general would be a lot better. I don't know how I feel about it personally, but yeah, I mean, we'll try to cross that bridge whenever we get to that point. But yeah, it would definitely make it better. I mean, could you imagine if LeBron James had to go to college for a year?
I hear those news, and I talked about it the other day, and I'm just like, dude, like I mean, the game is already. Like on a whole nother level, these dudes throwing 98, 99. And now you take the top 20, 30 high school players and put them in the Power 4s and the SECs. Lord have mercy, you are looking at, a big time, a solid professional caliber team, where you'd see a. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying.
No, you would see a massive trickle down effect too, because, we end up losing anywhere from 5 to 10 maybe guys a year, high school commits a year that end up getting drafted and signed. Well, if those guys are going to come to school, well, then the back half of our freshman recruiting class is probably going to end up getting pushed out on a given year, and those guys that are definitely good enough to play here are going to end up going to another school. So again, it's just the trickle down effect of making everybody within the entire country better, not only just the SEC but everybody. You would definitely see that full trickle down effect.
Man, listen, I'm gonna get you out of here, man. We are right at this hour. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the conversation, Jaime. It's been a blessing, my brother. I want you to. I used to have my guests, man, take us out, man. If you could, give a message. It could be something, to a parent, to a player. Anything that you feel in your heart that you feel like somebody would need to hear. And I'm gonna, you could take us out on that, man. Do you have a message for somebody over there, man, to listen again?
Yeah, I'll do this one on the recruiting side of things, man. I'm a massive, massive firm believer that if you want to play college baseball bad enough, there is a place for you to play college baseball. This is coming from somebody that played at the Division II level. But if you would like, if there's a place out there for everybody to play college. It may not be LSU, it may be LSU, but don't give up on your dreams and your hopes. If you want to play this sport bad enough at the college level, there's somewhere out there in the country that will give you an opportunity to play. So, and then another thing is too, on the recruiting side of things, obviously it's awesome to be recruited by a big school like this, but I would continue to really preach, like, go where you're going to play, right? Just from a recruiting side of things, go where you're going to have an opportunity to play as a freshman, and we feel like that's what we set ourselves apart. Again, going back to the age league, doesn't matter. We're going to bring these guys in. We expect them to be able to perform and add value to our team right away. So, if you don't feel like it's a right fit in terms of, am I going to get an opportunity to play right away? It might not be the right fit for you at all, right? So just go somewhere that that you're going to have the opportunity. Not that you're guaranteed to play,
right,
but that you're going to have the opportunity to win a starting job or win a job and either add meaningful innings on the mound or meaningful at bats for that team. So that's one thing that I would continue to preach for all recruits.
Awesome. Listen, that is a great message, dude. Jaime, do you have a Twitter or anything that people can follow you on? Any type of your social media that you don't mind sharing?
I do. Yeah. Let me. I don't remember what my Twitter handle is. Let me look at it real quick. All right. Yeah, it's at JTut39.
All right, JTut.
At JTUT39.
I'll message it.
Yeah, definitely go give me a follow.
Yes.
And,
yes.
Yeah. No, enjoyed the heck out of this, man. This was awesome, and love to do this again one day.
No doubt about it, man. All right, Jaime Tutko, fellas, listen, and ladies, this has been a great conversation. We're gonna keep this ball rolling. Listen, man, national champions, man. You can see what they're doing. He's been around, a couple of head coaches over there. Has been around the system, been around the program, knowing what the ins and outs of not just LSU but SEC baseball, college baseball, ex-pro guy, college player himself. So I hope you can learn something right now. Just listening in from Jaime here, man. All right, Coach, I appreciate you, my brother.
Hey, thanks, D. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Take care, man.
All righty.